President Biden kicking off his Bidenomics tour in South Carolina. He claims his policies are helping both parties. Listen to this.
Some analysis have said that the laws I've signed are going to do more to help red America than blue America. Well, that's okay with me because we're all Americans. Because my view is wherever the need is most, that's the place we should be helping. And that's what we're doing. Because the way I look at it, the progress we're making is good for all Americans.
For all Americans, Congressman Darrell Issa, Republican from California, joins me now. Great to see you, Congressman. My first question to you is, what do you think Bidenomics is actually doing for Americans?
Well, it's the last hope of a failing candidate. Biden can't run on the border. Biden can't run on his Afghanistan policy. He can't run on his foreign policies with China and Ukraine. So where does he go? He goes to what historically started off as pejorative. Reaganomics was what the left divisively said about Ronald Reagan's policies, and of course begrudgingly now recognizes they worked. Well, Bidenomics, in fact, is the failed policy that Reagan ran against. It's a return to Jimmy Carter. So does he think it's going to work? Well, he's willing to say it helps red more than blue, and these are great. So I guess if you have nothing left to brag about, you go to something that people may not know much about. But as you find out that the policies of Ronald Reagan and of Art Laffer, his chief economist, are exactly the opposite of what he's running on, you realize they can't both work because one works and the other is Jimmy Carter's failure.
Right. You're absolutely complete opposite. Higher taxes, higher regulation, much more government spending, the complete opposite of Reaganomics. But I want to move on, if we can, Congressman, to talk about the war in Ukraine. A group of former senior national security officials have apparently held secret talks with prominent Russians believed to be close to the Kremlin. Obviously, they're trying to lay the groundwork for perhaps negotiating an end to the war in Ukraine. Are how confident, or is this a good thing to do? I guess it doesn't hurt to try, but is this the way that peace could be brokered in Ukraine?
Well, if you want to have public debate with Putin, that's one thing. But a back channel that tells him that we don't have the conviction to stay with the Ukrainians through to an end that they approve of is counterproductive. If you'd said Ukrainians had a back channel, I'd say, fine, that's their right. But when you hear that we're undercutting an ally that NATO is standing behind for once, that really concerns me because it's exactly the kind of thing that will keep Putin thinking that his victory is just around the corner rather than his defeat is just around the corner, which is the message we should be sending.
Yes, I believe that the president has just okayed the shipment of cluster bombs to Ukraine, which had been controversial because they can do a lot of damage to civilians as well. But overall, I mean, could this thing just grind on and on? What is going to bring the war to an end in Ukraine?
Well, precision, high-range, good standoff equipment that can hit places in what historically is Ukraine, including Crimea, that's going to take the fight to the enemy. I will tell you, I'm one of those people that considers cluster bombs, particularly American-made ancient cluster bombs, which have a high failure rate, as very dangerous because many of those BLUs, as they're known, the small pieces that come out, they're going to be sitting there waiting to kill a Ukrainian 10 years from now where they've fallen because they have a high misfire rate. I don't approve of them. They're sort of a bad system, and they've proven to hurt people decades after they fall. So what do they need? They need the ability to take the fight to the Russians in a way the Russians can't stop. We've been reluctant to give them that equipment. We're short of supply of it. But that's really what would win this war very quickly and put the Russians into full retreat. I'm hoping that we get there because, candidly, the Ukrainians are paying with their lives for a slow win when, in fact, the Colin Powell strategy of overwhelming shock and awe, we should give them a little shock and awe to put down on the Russians.
All right, very quickly, talking of the Russians, they're continuing to bully our drones over the skies in Syria. The Pentagon said, that's very unprofessional. I'm not sure the Russians are going to listen to that. How should we respond?
Well, again, you know, we're playing to not lose but not win in Syria.
Yeah.
And it's really wrong. You know, President Obama called for regime change and then didn't follow through. And this president has continued to say we're not in Syria, but we are. That's not a good place to be. You can't have an endless conflict where you don't have a goal.
Very good. We covered a lot of ground. Congressman Darrell Issa from California. Sir, thank you so much for talking with us.